All right, I'm going to try to wrap the rest of this up in this particular video. I'm sure of most importance to you all is your grade, your course grade, what comprises the overall cumulative grade. Before I go into each assignment, I want to preface this by the grading scale. We use the standard 10-point grading scale, or 10-point-ish, as I like to call it. 0 to 64% is an F, 65 to 69 is a D, 70 to 79 is a C, 80 to 89 a B, and 90 to 100 is an A. Of course, MASM graduate program policies dictate that you can only earn one C that can apply to graduation requirements. So, in other words, if you earn anything below a C, i.e., a D or an F, that is grounds for dismissal from the program. A C you can earn. However, if you take another course in the MASM program and you earn a C, you're going to have to repeat either that course or this course. So at the graduate level, especially a master's program, the goal is an A or a B. Anything below that gets you in some cautionary territory. And so implications of that can vary, but just make sure in terms of your mindset and your final grade and where you need to be at the end of the course, you're aiming for the top portion of the 10-point scale here, either a A, B, or a C. The assignments in the course are very simple to understand. There are three major components to your overall cumulative final grade. There are two major research projects and then daily, weekly assignments and quizzes. The daily and weekly assignments and quizzes are 20% of your total course grade in the end. Think of these as all of the assignments that are embedded in each of the modules as they're posted each week or bi-weekly. These will take the format of quizzes, sometimes research annotations, our consultation sessions where we are meeting. You get a grade for that. So these are all of those minor types of assignments that help you prepare for the two larger assignments. The two major assignments in the course are two major research papers. The critical analysis is the first. It's 35% of the cumulative course grade, and then the final academic lit review, which I've referenced before. This is your final product of the course. This is the final objective, but it's the second major research paper comprising 45%. Often get questions from students with regards to research topics. A lot of students wonder if they're going to have to research and engage in two completely different topics, two completely different sets of ideas and sources, etc. You will not. Think of these two assignments, these two major assignments, as different iterations of the same research project. The critical analysis is the halfway point of the literature review. I do this to give you all time to really focus on bridging the gap in your writing and elevating your academic tone to the standards required. It's also a chance to get your initial ideas of your research topic on paper. And then what we do is we will add to that, we will flesh that out. We will engage in what we call literature funnels, annotations, etc. And we will add on to that idea, extrapolate, and reorganize that critical analysis into the final lit review at the end of the course. And this paper will be quite a large paper, typically 15, 20 pages ish. However, you're using the same sources, the same content, etc. You're just revamping it and reorganizing it. The content from the critical analysis is what I mean here. So, two papers, same research idea, weekly, daily assignments. I mentioned the assignments are scaffolded, so if you miss some of the modules, then you're automatically going to miss large portions of these major course assignments. You're not going to be able to forego certain daily or weekly assignments and be able to do well on the major research assignments. The positive thing about the grading in this course is that you will know where you stand throughout. You have the complete autonomy over your research ideas. I will approve your topics. I will give you guidance as we go through. If there is a deficit in the writing or the research topic or any of the content with regards to research, you will know before submitting a major assignment. So I just want to let that be known. Also, another perk of this course is that we will not have final exams. Your paper, your final literature review will serve as your final product of the course. It's the final assignment, if you will, that you will submit at the conclusion of finals week. I would be remiss if I did not point out, because I had some experiences with this in previous iterations of this course, I do have to add the disclaimer that your final grade is predominantly based off of two assignments here. So if you make a D or a C on the critical analysis at 35%, it will be very difficult to make up the deficit from that grade in the final lit review at 45%. So everything, like I mentioned, is a work in progress, and you need to ensure that everything is at the top caliber level before submitting in order to be graded. It's very easy to do well the first half of the semester, and then something goes awry with the final lit review because life happens, and then your cumulative course grade suffers as a product. So make sure that you're only submitting top tier work in this course. The next section is one or two of my specific course policies. The 24/7 rule is pretty self explanatory. If you're dissatisfied with a grade on any assignment in the course, you must adhere to the following procedure. You must wait at least 24 hours from receiving the final grade before requesting a grade review or discussion with me. The request must be received within 7 calendar days after the assignment has been returned. I do this for two reasons, really. The first is that it gives you time to simmer, gives you time to stew and think a little bit about the final grade and the evaluation and any feedback that I've provided that justifies that evaluation on that grade. It also allows you just to let it stew, allows you to simmer and calm down a little bit before wanting to request a grade with me, a grade evaluation or a grade discussion with me. Also employ this process because I do not want to receive any grade appeals, grade questions, inquiries, etc. months after the assignment has been returned to you. And sometimes I see that students progress towards the end of the course, they're realizing they're not doing as well as they thought they may have been, and then they want to inquire about a grade from months ago. So that's the 24/7 policy. Late work is not accepted in any way, shape, or form. Again, this is where time management is important. Take note of any due dates. The major item with regards to this policy is technology related reasons will never be a justification for submitting late work. It is the responsibility of the student to make sure that you've got your technology issues ironed out, you access Bulldog Central or IT desk, that you've secured the technology you need, the internet access, etc. So if something happens at the last minute, while I am human and you can reach out to me, I will not accept late work for any technology related issue. If you have any exacerbated life circumstances, I know life happens. I've lived the life of a grad student. Let me know and we can discuss. But as a general rule of thumb, late work of any type will not be accepted. Any students with a documented disability, i.e., physical learning, psychiatric, vision, hearing, etc., who needs any reasonable accommodation should let me know. Uh, First and foremost, contact the Office of Disability Support Services during the first week of class. Um, they're in the second floor of the Ethel K. Smith Library. Their email is listed as well as their phone extension. All discussions regarding your documented disability are completely confidential and will remain confidential. I encourage any student that needs to tap into this resource to do so. It's a federal law. Um, Again, it's all anonymous. You simply provide documentation for any disability that you may have. Their office will then send me a contract, if you will, that lists the type of accommodations that you may need, whether it be additional time for tests, etc., quizzes, and then we set up some type of plan to help with that or to provide that accommodation and put it in place so that you are as successful as you can be. If you already know that you have a documented disability, try to do this within the first week of class so that we can make sure we have those accommodations in place for the rest of the semester. Of course, if something happens during the course, you can always contact their office and then we can work out a plan for accommodations in the event that life happens. Religious holidays, contact me the first week of class if there's any conflict between a tentative due date for an assignment or if you happen to be traveling, if you are an athlete or if you are working and have a conference, something similar, something of a similar vein, let me know early on in the course and then we can work out a tentative plan so that your absence will not affect your course grade. Academic integrity, I have an entire section here. Basically, this boils down to remaining professional, not engaging in plagiarism of any kind, and to also be sure that you're avoiding artificial intelligence in any way, shape, or form. This section is transposed directly from the student handbook. I've got a section regarding plagiarism here, also documentation of papers. We're going to go in this, excuse me, we're going to go into this in depth when we start working on research in our actual course material. The one thing I do want to point out, I can't assume everyone knows what plagiarism is, but plagiarism is taking the ownership or assuming the ownership of any intellectual property, content, or ideas as your own without proper citation and documentation. That also includes having artificial intelligence draft any of your content for you. Um, there is nothing in this course that you will submit that I will not read word for word. I also have some databases that I use that will analyze all of your content to look for trends for artificial intelligence involvement in the drafting of that content. Long story short, just do not try to even use any AI. It's not going to work, and I will pick up on it, and the databases will pick up on it. And as soon as that's done, you automatically forfeit your grade in the course, and you are then susceptible to honor code violations. That is, by university policy, considered plagiarism, just the same as if there are any plagiarism or issues resulting from improper documentation of papers. Fortunately, you will have a boot camp with American Psychological Association Style Guide, which will teach you the adequate way to cite all of your sources or attribute all of your sources in the right way, at the right rate, and you won't fall susceptible to these things. So we'll discuss it in detail. I just want to make sure everyone understands that these are considered honor code violations. Um, One other note regarding plagiarism is that claiming ignorance will never be a justification for any instance of plagiarism. It is the responsibility of the student to understand that the knowledge of course documentation of sources, attributing of sources, and the employment of APA style guide, which controls those concepts, those are all in your control. You can't claim ignorance or that you, quote, did not know, which we sometimes see. Finally, I have a few assistance bullet points here just to wrap everything up. As mentioned, I hold office hours mostly virtually, but if you do prefer to meet in person and you're in the greater Charlotte area or on campus, I will coordinate the best I can to meet with you in person if that's your preference. The Academic Resource Center is available on campus and virtually. I will say that that office is geared predominantly towards undergraduate students, but they do offer some foundational assistance, i.e., study skills, note taking skills, some basic research skills that may be helpful. The Writing Center is also available. They offer their services both in person and virtually. And so that tends to be the greatest help for most students enrolled in this course. It's always helpful to have a professional set eyes on your papers before you submit them to me. The director of the Writing Center actually teaches this course in the summer and is very familiar with the requirements, the style guide that we are employing in our papers, but also knows the rigor of the course as well. And he's extremely helpful. So you won't meet with a peer if you engage with the Writing Center. You will meet with a professor of this course, actually. So go ahead and earmark that in your notes because that will be of great help to you. Your academic advisor for anything academic advising related, withdrawing from a course, trying to drop a course, etc., is Dr. Christy DeWall. Some of you undergrad students will have maybe a different undergrad advisor, but if you have questions about the MASM program and your plan moving forward for MASM, be sure to contact Dr. Christy DeWall. Counseling services are available on our campus. If you all have engaged with counseling services outside of the university, you'll be aware that those sessions are typically pricey. Insurance may or may not cover it. Your graduate tuition covers counseling services, so you might as well tap into that if you find that helpful because it's completely free by virtue of being a student. I always tell people, take advantage of it. Why not? Of course, our Canvas site where I've compiled some other resources to help you navigate your time at Wingate University. And then, of course, I've got my office hour bullet point here, but I'm also probably your other greatest resource in this course. You will find that when we start working one-on-one together, but if you're ever confused about an assignment or something like that, you can always reach out to me.